Howdy, howdy, everyone. This is Sharon for another Self Care You Nugget. And so, remember to like and share. Remember to turn on your notifications. And remember to subscribe. And also remember when it comes to these Self Care You Nuggets, in that they do not come on at a particular time because when life unfolds, we never know what time or when something happens. We never know when that storm is going to happen. And so we embrace everything that comes along. That's the key to life, right? And so, thank you for joining me, for those who are joining me live. And um seems like I was looking for something. But anyway, we are live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So, today, what we would talk about is your health hits your pocket. As you know, we talk about health is wealth, and you've heard me talk a lot about finances because I've added financial services to my self care brand. And we're like, oh, Sharon, what does that mean? Oh, believe me, they are so tied together. They are so tied together. They are so tied together. Okay. And so we know how important it is for all of us to take care of ourselves. And sometimes we're like, oh, we don't have no time. We're always hustling and grinding. Um, One thing I will say is that I'm positive that most of us, have experienced someone that we know, whether it's a parent or I have to say a loved one, where we have seen them decline in their health. And I just refuse, even though it can happen to any of us. But I want to do everything in my might so that I can be healthy, so that my family can look after me, and hopefully they won't have to take care of me. And we know that things happen. And so, what I'm inviting you is to take care of you. And I know that sometimes when it comes to life, we make decisions based on now. Some decisions need to be based on now, but a lot of it, or at least some of it, needs to be based on the future, meaning what do we want our lives to be? How do we want to live? We live it now, we live it, plan for the future. And a lot of times when it comes to health, people say, I cannot afford to eat healthy. But can you afford to have cancer? Can you afford to have your legs amputated? Can you afford to have a stroke or heart attack? This is reality. I'm not saying this, you know, this is just reality. And some of these things, a lot of these things are really preventable. The other piece of it though is that a lot of times people outlive themselves in a sense, meaning that someone can have a heart attack and stroke and they survive. Then what? There are things, put it like this, life insurance is not how it used to be. Most of the time people are like, oh, it's just for the, someone who is dying at the time or after you're gone. And then the other thing is, how do you want your family to be? So I'm going to say this in that it is an emotional toll already for any family to have to deal with a loved one having a medical condition, having a medical challenge, have a medical emergency. But it's even more so that the financial burden and challenges that can come along with that. It's like even with my parents, they were financially comfortable. I mean, I can definitely say that. But even though they were financially comfortable, meaning that, they didn't have to worry about their bills being paid after they've gotten unfortunately they have endured, medical challenges throughout, I should say, the last 10 years at least of their life. Really more than that, but I just say over 10 years of their life. And even though they were financially, I'm saying comfortable, but yeah, financially comfortable, but it wasn't enough. Not to say where extra help was needed. And the by them being financially comfortable, that doesn't help, like the family when the family, had to take off work, for emergencies to see about them. And my whole point is saying, of course, we're going to do that anyway, but it doesn't take away the emotional burden and the things that come, the emotional turmoil that comes along with that. Like, even though I'm in mental health, but that doesn't, that doesn't give me a pass to say, oh, well, I'm a therapist and I'm not going to feel. No, that doesn't happen. And so, in saying all of that, is to say, in that, one thing that I have learned and am learning, especially as I'm learning more and more about business, part of this self-care is taking our emotions out of certain things so that decisions need to be made, so that the work can be done, so that we were not taking things personal when it comes to things. One thing I'm going to say, this two things that have helped me in life in making decisions, that's to say, especially when it comes to other people, in making decisions that, I just say that just may not be popular, or to help along with that. If it's anything to do with health and safety, I don't play. I really, I don't care what no one says. This is about safety and health. Either it's my safety and health or someone else's safety and health. So hopefully that helps you guys too, because we cannot continue to make decisions because someone doesn't want to or feel like it. It's like, not on my watch. If I need to call 911 for something, I'm going to call 911 for something. Not because, oh, okay, well, I don't really feel like going to the hospital and they're in extremely pain, or I have some symptoms. I have no idea what that is. No, 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 no. That's another conversation regarding self-care. But getting back that your health is directly, it hits your pocket either way. And so you get to decide of when it hits your pocket. And when you're like, well, Sharon, I could be taking care of myself and this stuff still happens. This is true. But one thing I will say is that when you live a healthy lifestyle, even when you have medical conditions and, like I said, hiccups that come up, and sometimes it could be more than hiccups, medical challenges that may come up, majority of the time, and studies have said that people tend to recover at a better rate and a higher rate. So again, it increases your chance of surviving, and it also improves on your recovery. So that is another thing, another reason for you to, to live a healthy lifestyle. And again, putting things in place. It's like, do people know? Oh, and even just by me saying it, I'm like, I need to make sure my family knows. It's like, when it comes to my paperwork, where, you can find it, because you can tell somebody, oh, I'll put you on, I put you in my will, or, anything like that, or I named you power of attorney. But do they have the paperwork for the power of attorney? Because by you having the paperwork, that is not going to really help this situation when it's needed. Another thing that I would say, in that, when it comes along, again, pretty much what I'm just really just trying to say is that your health directly hit your pocket one way or another. You can say, oh, but food is too high. But again, if someone has a heart attack or stroke, or have, any type of cancer or anything that requires medical care, it's going to hit you even more so in that respect, because it'd be either it could be a loss of job, but I just say loss of income during that time, you know. It's going to hit you in that way, because even if you have health insurance doesn't pay 100%. Even if you have two health insurance, and let's just say if you're married and both spouses have health insurance, they just don't pay 100%. There's still some type of copay or co-insurance that you will be paying. And so again, just think about that. That is a whole lot more than what it takes to, if you have a membership at a gym or yoga studio, or you go to a retreat. Just think about those things are connections with people where you can have fun, those things you can do with your family. So there are different ways. And I can't not remember the lady name. I remember seeing her on social media, especially like on Instagram. I call her the vegan queen. I can't remember her Instagram name, and I don't have an extra phone to look it up right now. But I remember seeing a few of her videos, and she talked specifically of how someone can budget in eating healthy, and especially in being a vegan, because a lot of complaints, oh, that food is too high. There is a will, there is a way. Think about it like this. If you saw your loved one was trapped somewhere, what would you do? You would do anything in your mind to get to them. So it's the same thing. It's almost like it's just different. It's just in a different form, in doing what you need to do. And so just in saying this, you've heard me say this before, people say they'll go to the moon and back, but then when it comes to putting things in place, and I know I make it sound easy, and I know that it's not always, because I even struggle with certain things. It's kind of like, oh, I gotta do it. I forget, when it comes to certain things, and especially when it comes to that strength training, I'm getting better at it. But it's never been my thing, and that's why I try to integrate it into something, because for me to do it completely by myself, but anyway, I'm getting better though. I'm getting better. But the main thing is to know is that the more, again, self-care, it is about, um, everything mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and even financially, because all of those things impact you financially. Because whenever you become sick, and especially for extended period of time, that is going to hit your pocketbook. This is what self-care is all about. It's every aspect of your life, because it impacts you. Because anything that impacts you at your job, it's going to impact you at home, whether you realize it or not. And so, again, you really have the power. It's never too late. It's never too late. There's too much information out there to not be well, or at least not to be on the road of wellness. Sometimes it may take a little minute to, reverse certain things, but there are people who, have reversed cancer. There are people who have reversed kidney disease. There are people who have reversed so many different things. Does it take work? Yes, it does, and kind of think about it like this. And I just thought about this just as it's about to come out my mouth. I'm thinking that because the danger, it may put like this, we don't know when the danger is, because anybody can have a heart attack or stroke. And of course, with the dementia, it can, come along in a slow way. But I really believe that because the danger, we don't see the danger right now. We may not even feel the danger until we start feeling some pain and discomfort, but even for some, the doctors can tell you the numbers and it still may not be enough. But I think because it's not there, it's not until the heart attack happens, or until the stroke happens, or the cancer comes. Some cancers, I'll put it like this, there's more cancer than you are aware of, that can be prevented. So it's doing those things, and they may seem extra, but when you really look at it, it's really good for you, you know? And so I think that because it may not appear, I'm going to call it this. It's think about it this way. You know, lions, tigers, and bears. Again, if your loved one was trapped and there was a lion, tiger, or bear, or even a fire, you would do everything in your might to get to that person, to do what you need to do. Or if they were injured, you would do what you need to do. So I think that when it comes to our own health, in that it may not appear as though it is a fire, it may not appear, it's an invisible, I'm going to say this, it's an invisible fire. So you are constantly, I don't want to say fighting that, but you are constantly preventing, that's it, you're preventing the fire from being ignited. That's pretty much what you're doing when you're putting things in place of making sure that your family are safe by setting up, making sure you have the right life insurance. Because Lord knows, once I've learned all this stuff, I'm like telling everybody, it's like, hey, make sure, let's see if you qualify for living benefits. Let's see if you and your child, can qualify for an IUL, because putting things in place is going to help in the long run too when it comes to any health conditions as well. And so that is important. Again, it hits your pocket. So it's kind of like if any of those things happen. And for those of you who are healthy, who already have a really good, self-care routine and who's healthy, good for you. But also make sure you put things in place as well. Because it's really, really, really important. And especially for those of us who have a business. We know about liability insurance, but do you have an insurance in place if you become disabled? Do you have an insurance in place, again, if you have a heart attack or stroke? So those are things to remember, because people are dependent on your income. So if that income stops, especially if you have a service or product where you're the one who's doing it, and especially if you're the only one who's doing it. But even if you're not the only one, but people are dependent highly on you. And so it's having that forethought or think of in the future of about your health and your pocket in so many different ways. And so let me get off here, because I could go on and on and on about talking about this stuff, because it is so, so important when it comes to your health and your well-being. You're the only one who can do it. You are the only one, and you can and you will, because you love you and you love your family as well. So take care, and remember to check my website, Affirm Holistic Network.net, for any coming workshops, and also connect with me, especially for businesses and entrepreneurs. Connect with me for consultation so we can make sure that you have a really good, solid self-care plan to move on and beyond. And again, definitely keep in touch with me regarding any workshops and other things that are happening in the self-care and financial services world. So take care.